Okay, so what we're going to do today is look at Collaborate, sort of touch back on it, look at how to initiate a session in Angel, and then how to use it, Collaborate with your classroom. Not just the technical things, but sort of how you some of the best practices in using it, like how to use all the little bells and whistles just to sort of make the class flow a little bit easier. And I got to keep remembering to look over it because I'm used to doing this by myself with the microphone. So I don't want you to think you're here by yourself, but you are. But so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share my desktop. We're going to get back into Collaborate, in a second. But right now, I'm just going to use this function of it. So right now, everybody out there should see my Angel shell. If you can I get like a check mark or hands raised out there? There we go. That's good. Thank you very much. And I'm going to do that. And so we do have somebody out there. Kathy's there, so she can hear me. That's one of the things you can do. If you need a cue from a user, ask them a question like that. Can I get a check mark? Can I get a hands raised? Can I get something? And then, Kathy, you can just hit the little hand again, and it'll get rid of the hands raised thing. There you go. Sure. Yeah, they'll be right here. Yeah, and we'll go through all that once we get to that. So if we're in Angel, and we've picked a class. And we've come over to the Collaborate, we picked a class, and now we've moved over to the Communicate area. And then over here you'll see the tab that says Collaborate. Underneath it is our help files that I've put together. Some are mine, some are ones I found on the web, some are of course right from Blackboard's website. And then down here, these are for students. So this one, a couple of them are the same because they're universal really, but some are just really to help students know how to use these things. So I would, point your students here before they go to the session. So here's your session, creating sort of tab up here, and you've got live and you have recordings. So if they're looking for a live recording, they of course want to be clicking on this. If they're looking for a recording, they would click recordings. And now you can see recording here. But we want to create a live session. So we're here in live. We click on the little pencil. And then we're asked to create a session. And there's a little blue button up here. It's kind of hard to see, a little blue link. This is how you add a new session. And I'll just make it for right now, but you would set your time. When do I want to run this? Does it repeat every day at this time? Weekdays at this time? Weekly at this time? You can click to save to calendar, and it will save it to your class's calendar in Angel. I'm going to name this the ever popular and original test session. And we're not finished yet. We go to Session Access. Now, this allows users and yourself to get in early. So let's say the session was set for 1:45. I can get in half an hour earlier, 45 minutes earlier, or an hour earlier. It isn't just for the students. If you set it for 15 minutes, that's the earliest you can get in it as well. So I always say, set it to an hour. That's my new thing, because you used to be able to get in even though the faculty member could get in, but now with Blackboard Collaborate, apparently they can't. So I used to say 15 minutes is fine. I would set it for an hour. You're going to have plenty of time if you want to get in there a half hour earlier, 20 minutes earlier. You don't have to worry about those time restraints. And, most of the time we don't have to worry about our students showing up an hour early for class. I think we're unfortunately we're all set on that one, right? So I choose 60. Moderator and participants, it'll list your students over here, and this is my freshman seminar class, so it's listing my students in freshman seminar. I don't have to put them over here because they are participants. they are the available participants, they are going to be invited. If I have like maybe a GA or a TA or someone that helps me in class, I could choose them, click here and make them a moderator, and then when they log in, they have all the controls I have. But I don't want that. I don't have to choose them all and move them to participants. Don't have to do that. So this one you pretty much leave to yourself, or leave empty. Section attributes has got quite a few little things that you can work with. You've got recording. As you saw, I recorded it, and I hit record. That's manual. Automatic means the second we get into the session, it starts recording. And then disabled means we're not going to record this at all. This one's really up to you. I don't usually choose automatic because, as you saw when we started, Kathy was there and we were trying to get it working. That would have been all recorded. Does that also mean that there have been times where I have started this, been 15 minutes in, and realized I didn't hit record? Yes. So you have to hit record. If you don't hit record, it's not recording. Simultaneous talkers. As you saw before, I hit the talk button, and Kathy could hear me, and she could be talking, and we could sort of talk over each other. We could talk simultaneously. I wouldn't set that for more than 3, just for bandwidth issues. And if you got 30 kids in the class and they start all talking over, in the room, it's kind of easy. You can say, oh, this person, that person, that person. Here, it's very difficult. So I limit it to 3. A lot of times, I'll set it to 1. I'm giving a lecture, and I say, okay, everybody, I'm going to go through these slides. Type your questions in to the chat as you get them, and we'll review them at the end. Or, write your questions down or type your questions into your laptop, whatever program you're using, and then at the end, I'll open the mic up, and then someone raises their hand. I will say, okay, Susie, you go. I'll turn my mic off. You hit talk, and you go. That's another way of doing things. This way you control everything. Supervised users can have private chat areas where they're chatting away, maybe not paying attention, chatting away about whatever. You can see that, and you can say, hey guys, let's knock off the private chatting and pay attention. If you supervise. If not, you can't see what they're typing. All permissions. This is, if I were to click this, when they get into Collaborate, they can do everything I can do. And I usually don't want that because you don't want them to get on the whiteboard and start drawing away and stuff. So I do not click that. Raise hand on entry. That's another personal preference. If you, let's say you've got 30 people, and they're coming in late and sort of straggling in. When they enter the session, over in this participants area, a green hand, I think it is, goes up, and it makes kind of like a noise, like bing, 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 and then you can go, oh, Susie just came in. I don't usually do it, but it's preference. Try it a few times. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it. And then that's it. Any questions or anything, Kath?
Nope, sounds good.
Cool. So now we're all ready. You can hit create. And in this window, you can do a couple things. You could send an email to yourself by putting something in here, or to the participants. And that's going to go into their Angel email. So you can say, we have a session on this such and such a date. Go to the Collaborate tab. You'd hit continue and send email confirmation, that they would get it. Or you can say continue without sending email confirmation. If I'm doing a totally online class and I'm doing a Collaborate session, I will type up the time and date we're going to have it and send them an email. But for this, I'm just going to hit continue without. We can look at our session. That's what I want. Yes. If it isn't, I can edit it. If it's like, oh, this is totally wrong, I can delete it. But if it's good, I hit exit session editor. and it shows up. And then the student would just come over here, now really, because this is when I started it, click on this, and it would launch, and same thing with you, it would launch something, and it asks you to keep it or save it or open it. It's a little JNLP file. And it'll be down here like in your download area. You just double click and open it. Or I can come over to, if you're going to do a lot of these in your office, I can come to your office and set it up so it'll automatically just open it. If you're using Firefox. That's the only one that'll do that. But I can show you actually what happens. If you click here, now it comes to this screen. As you can see down here, it says, do you want to keep this file? I would hit keep. It has now downloaded that. And then I would double click this, and it would run the session. And it would open it up in like what we're using right now. And that's it. And that's what your students do. I'm going to end file sharing, and then we'll go into file sharing when we're talking, now that we're into Collaborate. So let's say, just like in the cooking shows, through the magic and miracle of modern television, if we look at this, this is what we would see if we were in that session. And now let's go through some of the windows. The first one is the audio video, and that's this one right here. In that are your audio video controls. You've got your audio wizard, the drop down where you can change all your audio preferences. You can run the wizard. You can check your microphone settings. Is it too loud? Is it too soft? Let's say you chose one simultaneous speaker and you wanted to change that. Right here, maximum simultaneous talkers, you could change that if you wanted to. This is a really great little function that they just built into, it wasn't in Illuminate. It's the telephony setup. So if you click this, it gives you the information that the student, and yourself if you wanted it, the information to call in. So you'd call this number right here, enter this PIN, and they're using their phone as the headset and the microphone. So let's say a student's online, let's say you get a class going and there's 20 people in it or whatever, and 5 of them don't have their microphones, and you really, they're supposed to be talking. You need them to do something, say something. You can say, okay, here, let's use the telephony thing, and you could actually copy this. You could say, I think you can copy it. I'm going to try it actually. You can copy it, and maybe you can't. Control C. Control V. Yeah, it didn't let me right click, but I highlighted it, I copied it. And then I put it into my chat. And if I do this, they could call that number and they could talk. And the only problem with that is, if I remember correctly, you don't see their name. It says telephone user or something. That's if they don't have a mic. And you need them to speak. But hopefully they would know that ahead of time. Not real. I mean, a lot of the nursing students, and most of the nursing students should at this point, because I believe it's on the website, and your department sends out that you guys are using Collaborate and these kind of tools, you need to get one. If they don't, they're running late. You know, sometimes it's nice for them to know they can call and at least be on in the class if they're driving or something, which is bad, unless they have a headset. Right? Wear a headset. So the other thing that's in this area here is this talk button. If you do not click talk, they can't hear you. If you don't click talk and you hit record, the recording will have no audio. That's it, nothing. It'll have the video but no audio. This video button, I don't have a video camera hooked up to this, but you could click this and then it would show the video of yourself. And the students would see that. And they could also have a camera up and you could see them in like a little box down here. I believe up to 6 cameras can be down here. Make sense? Yeah. And same thing with the video. If you don't click this, it doesn't show up. Right. Now we go to the participants area. And this is another good indicator that everything's going well with your microphone. If you, two things really. One, as I'm talking, you see how there's this little thing going back and forth here? My audio thing. That's saying, okay, it knows the microphone's working. The other thing is, there's this little microphone, I can't get close to it with my mouse, but you see next to SUNY Administrator, the little blue microphone. That's another way to tell, okay, the audio wizard's working, it's recording audio, because that microphone's blue. Again, you have a little drop down, which I think they really should make a little darker. Sometimes it was me, I was a graphic designer for a long time, still am, I guess, and sometimes we get a little too fancy and we want to make things look cool, like gray and darker gray, and, you know, and it ends up being accessibility-wise, it isn't too great. But here's where you can turn on different permissions. So let's say you wanted someone to be able to use the microphone, you could click on this, and it turns off the. Oh, I just turned off my microphone. You could turn off people's permissions here. There's a better way to do that. I'll show you that in a second. You can create breakout rooms, something we're going to be doing later. You can lower everyone's hand if they didn't know how to do that. You can invite a new participant. Let's say you want to have a guest speaker you want to have come in. You can choose this, and then here's their link that you need to get in, compose the email, send it, and then that person would be waiting at their house or whatever. They'd check their email, they'd get it, and they could come into the class. A lot easier than Illuminate. Polling, we'll go over that at towards the end too. And of course, you can detach the panel, which is I usually don't. I keep everything nice and in line. You've got some emoticons and some things over here you can use. You know, hey, does everybody like that? Does everybody understand that? What do you think? You like it? Yes, I like it. Smiley face. They click this, and it goes away. I believe it'll go away after a little bit. I don't use these a lot in my classes. I see this a lot, though. The applauding, all the students. Always hitting applauding. And as you can see, yes, it did go away after a little while. This is a little I'm away. So let's say you're going to go help a student or you need to go to the restroom or whatever. You click this, they know you're away. They can still hear me. I'm still talking. But this is just a visual thing. I'm not here. Of course, here's your hand. Can I see a hand raised? If anybody has a question, raise your hand. They have to click it to go away, I'm pretty sure. And can everybody hear me? Can I get a green check mark? Yes. And these check marks and hand raises and smiley faces, these are excellent ways to get some feedback. To make them, feel like they're a part of the class, that there's somebody there. And if they don't have a microphone, they don't feel like they're just floating out there. You know, I use those a lot because I've been to a lot of these sessions with SLN, the Student Learning Network, and they do that constantly. Has everybody got that? Let me get a hand raised. Let me get a check mark. Let me get a whatever. And I find that to be really helpful, and I use it a lot now in my class. And if you have any questions, just ask whenever. Now, up here are all the things that you can do, most of the things you can do in Collaborate. Collumerate, I think I almost said. Collumerate. In Collaborate. The audio permissions, that's on, unless it's got check marks, then it's off. Video permission, chat, whiteboard. This is the whiteboard. I think this is sharing. Come on. Yep. That's application sharing, and that's web tour. And so when they're X'd off, they're off. Now, they're never going to be off for you, because you can see I'm the administrator here, and they're all on. Okay? If you look at Kathy, the two that are up there are off for her. Okay, because I don't want her to do any sharing, and that's it. Now let's say I didn't want her to do the whiteboard. I could click here, and now she can't do the whiteboard either. But if let's say you've got 30 students, you don't want to have to go click, 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 click. You can click this one up here. And then again, it doesn't affect you, but now she doesn't have that either. And if you had 30 students, it would turn it off for all 30 students at once. And since there's no video camera, I'm just going to turn that off just for the heck of it. Now, something that I like to do, if I don't use a video camera, I like to personalize my class a little bit. So it just doesn't say SUNY Administrator. It would say my name if it was in my class. But when I set these up for this type of thing, I'm the SUNY Administrator, SUNY IT Administrator. So it would say my name here. But what I like to do is to personalize it a little bit, and that's in this drop-down. And edit profile. And again, this is something that's in documents that I've got out there. And I can put my name here if I wanted. I don't think it's going to change it over there. I can add a picture. I usually keep a picture on the desktop, but I think they wiped these. Oops, come on. See if I can find a photo. I guess not. I think they must have cleared. They must have cleared the. Yeah, they must have did something. They got rid of me here. My pictures maybe. Either way, if you were to have a photo, that's where it could go. Okay, here's one. Let's say it was a picture of me. They would see a picture of me there. So at least it's a little bit, or you could be something like this, just something a little personal to sort of bridge that gap. And let's say you wanted this to be a little bit longer. You weren't using chat right away. You could do this so you could see all your students. Or let's say you're going to do a whole lot of chatting. You could do this. So you knew everybody was there. You could see more. You could do it that way. So that's your participants window. The next one is your chat window. And that's just like you saw us doing. You can chat. And the person's going to get that, and then they can chat back. And what you can do is, did I turn your chat off? No. Go ahead and type in something there, Kathy, for me. See, now when she's typing, you can see the little chat thing by her name. That little bubble means she was typing. Can you type something again? Look under her name. And you see the little, right here? Yeah, that means she's typing. So if you were wondering, thanks, yeah. So if you're wondering if thank you. If you're wondering, are they typing? Is she typing something? If you look there, that's the cue that she's typing. And she's applauding. Look at that. See, I tell you, every time. I think it's the flowers. It's this big chrysanthemum up here. And you can see it changes it here too. And the students can do that. You can tell your students to load a picture there too. You know, guys, have a little JPEG ready. You know, you can't make them because they might not want to. You could say, if you want, have a little JPEG of yourself ready, or have a little JPEG of something, your dog, something you like. You like soccer? It's a soccer ball. So we can get a little sense of yourself. But I would never say you have to, because some people are shy. They don't want their face on the internet. Yeah. Yeah, no. So if you have multiple moderators, let's say you invited someone in and they're a moderator, if you click on this tab, part of the tab right here, this is only me and you, two moderators talking. The students can't see that. You can increase the font size. And you can tell it to your students. I've had students say, I'm having a hard time reading this text. You can say, go to the little tab over here, and they can see you doing that, and increase the font size. Yeah. I've never tried this actually. Kathy, did that just increase your text size too? Right, that's what I thought. That's on mine alone. Yes. You'd have to say use the drop down in the right hand corner of the chat window to increase your text size. I thought that was only mine, but I just wanted
Kevin, I just tried it, and it increased. When I did it increased font size, it did mine. So it is just the person that's hitting it.
Right. Okay, I wasn't sure because I don't think I've ever increased it like that. But yes, but that's something you can tell your students. Especially I think nursing's got a lot of returning students, older students. That would be really helpful. And then since they might not care who's in the class, you can tell them to make the window bigger so that they can see more of the text. This is the whiteboard. You might recognize it because it's a big white area. Well named, right? Here are your tools. So you've got a, what do they call this? It's like a highlight, like a pointer. So like you could do that, and it sort of puts a little dot there. And then, whatever, it moves around. I've seen a lot of people, what they do for this kind of thing is sort of a nice welcome to the class. They'll bring up a map of the United States. This is when here it's a little tough. You could bring up a map of New York State. And you can say, choose the highlighter over there. I'm going to give you all whiteboard permission. So you come over here, make sure they all had whiteboard permission. That's whiteboard, right? And then put a little highlighter where you are. Again, everybody, oh, wow, you're from Binghamton? Oh, okay. Half the people in the class probably wouldn't even know that someone maybe else in Binghamton's taking the class. Again, just sort of like a sense of community kind of thing. You can do little pointers like that. You can do a pencil. So let's say you've got a slide up and you say, okay, yeah, this is the throat. The heart is over here. As you can see, I gave Kathy the board permissions. So she now just drew that squiggly. So they can, they could do collaborative sort of back and forth. You gonna play, Kath? Where are you gonna put the X? There we go. So you can be doing these things back and forth, and you might not want to have them being tic-tac-toe, but it works. Oh, I was going to say, or if you're the, where is it now? I'm pretty sure there's an eraser. You can just do this, and then take away their controls, their whiteboard controls, and now they can't come back. You won. So that's right. There's so there's that. You can point, you can do stuff, you can write. It's a little tricky to write with a mouse. So if you're going to be doing a lot of like writing, you might want to get a tablet. Check with nursing, see if they are buying those for. I know a lot of the nursing staff are getting them. Some have their own. Some I think maybe you're getting them through nursing. I'm not sure. Yep, a little tablet, and you can go ahead and you'd be writing, and it'd look pretty good. But you can also type. This little tool here is a type tool, so you can, God, I can't type today. So you can type, and they can see what you're typing right like that. And then these are just some basic shapes that you can do, and then you can change the color. This is just outlined. That's a line, a line. The picture was a picture of the desktop. Let me just jump back. If you click this, now I can drag this around. It can be a little confusing. I can drag this around. I can hit OK. And now it just there's my desktop. It brings it in. If I highlight these things and I hit delete, they go away, and that's including, things like this. And this is clip art that's a part of Collaborate. It's kind of Mickey Mouse kind of clip art. There's not a whole lot of stuff in there, but this is where a lot of people get that map. You'd have to bring a New York State one in, but I'll show you how to do that. Yeah, so they'd have this, and then the person would, do that, or sometimes people end up taking a smiley face, and I'm over here, So it's kind of a neat way. Now there's some controls for the whiteboard right up here. How it's set up is this is the public page. You got a main room. That's like right here where we are. And the public page, which is, let's say, the whiteboard up here that we have. Everybody can see that. You have a work area that's private just to you. So if you did this and you came over here and you did some stuff like that, Kathy can't see that. And then I can go back to my public room, and I'm in the public room. I don't think I've ever used it. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't know. Maybe you're gonna. Question was why would you use that? Maybe you're just sort of like doodling some math off or something over there. I don't know, like a scratch pad, and you don't want the students to see it. I'm not sure. I've never, like I said, never used it. No. Yes. Yes. It would show up right here. Yes. Yep. Kathy, actually, can you see what's on the whiteboard right now?
Yes. There's the map with all our little doodling on it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because it still has this red line in it, so I don't know why it did that. So, but at least you can see it. So there's that control. And then over here, I'm going to clear this. You can clear the page. Yes, delete everything off of there. Get rid of that graphic. Delete the page even. Why not? I can make a new page, and that's a new public page. I can make a new one. And now there's a second public page. So you can just keep making pages if you need them. You don't have to keep clearing them. Or you can delete the page. Now, the thing that most people are going to do in this is they're going to bring in a PowerPoint presentation. So how do we get that in here? You want to use this Load Content button right up here in the upper right-hand corner. And you're going to choose a PowerPoint that I hopefully have here. I think this one will work. And this takes a few minutes. If it's a really long PowerPoint presentation, it can take a minute. The key thing also to know about this is if you you have to have PowerPoint on that machine, because what it does is it opens up, it launches PowerPoint, it converts the slides to images, I'm pretty sure, and then it pops them in here. And so let's say you're going to go to you've got it on your stick, your PowerPoint presentation, and you go to a classroom, put it in there, and it's like the class is starting, and then you load, and you can say, okay, load that. It goes to launch PowerPoint, and what's happened to me sometimes is maybe that, for whatever reason, that application, that PowerPoint in that machine, maybe the license didn't get loaded yet. It doesn't run. Well, then you're not going to load that PowerPoint presentation. So always check that PowerPoint's working in the machine you're in. Sometimes it can happen. This is new, this Page Explorer. I don't particularly care for it because it takes up a lot of room. So I just close that. And then here's our PowerPoint presentation. And if we click up here now, we can see that as long as you name them, you can jump wherever you want. If you don't, it'll just say slide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which can be a bit of a pain. Right, right. That's right. And then you use these previous and next, these little guys, to move through it and back. Then when you're done, if you know someone says, I didn't get that communication part, you can use this to jump through. And again, when this is here, you know, you can, just because they're your slides, you can draw things on your slides. Okay? If it's like, you know, and then this is the trachea, and, you know, this is the nose, that kind of thing, and you can do whatever you want. And you can hit clear, and it gets rid of those objects. It doesn't get rid of your PowerPoint slide, just what's drawn on there. If you need to go back to just a blank page, it kept your public page 1 right at the top. Yep. And that would be, it's mouse. It stays, whatever you did back there. So those are the basic tools you're going to use when you're doing a Collaborate session. Your talk button, your video button maybe, your controls. You're going to do a lot in the participants window. You know, maybe. It all depends really how you run the class. Some faculty are going to go in there, they're going to do the PowerPoint presentation. All of the students' things are going to be off. They can't chat, they can't do anything. Write down your questions on a pad of paper. At the end of the session, I will open up the mic, raise your hand, I will turn the mic over to you. Others will say, leave the chat, give them chat permission and nothing else, and say, be typing your questions in as I'm going and I'll answer your questions. When you feel more comfortable using the tool, you can do that because you're splitting your, you know, it gets tricky when you're in front of a class. Like I'm sitting at the computer right now, you're sitting over there. I would be doing my presentation, looking at you, looking here, you're asking me a question, so you have to be comfortable with that. If not, you just sort of ratchet down the controls. And there's nothing wrong with that. The main thing is you start off where you're comfortable. Let's see. Any questions, Kath? It's hard to draw a circle with a mouse. Good. So, again, those are the main, sort of the basic things that you can do. You can pause the recording. Click on the recording button, stop or pause recording, click yes, and then you can resume it. I'm just going to say no, cancel, and it's still working. Now, what are some of the more advanced things that you can do? We'll move into that. These buttons up here, one is Whiteboard, and that's what we're on. One is file sharing or application sharing, and the other one is Web Tour. Let's go to application sharing first, and it's just what it sounds like. You're sharing an application with your students. You're letting them see this application. So I'm going to click on this, and here it brings up the applications that are running on my computer right now. Now I'm going to hit, if you notice it says Blackboard, Collaborate, and Google Chrome. I'm going to hit cancel. Something I noticed with the PC, if I have this Google Chrome minimized, and I'm actually going to launch, something else too. Let me launch, what's that? PowerPoint. Let me launch Word. That's not Word. I'll launch this PDF. I'll launch Acrobat. I don't know what that is. It's somebody's thing. I better not launch that. I'll launch this one. Okay. So now if I come in here and I hit this, I see Acrobat and the doc name. Hit cancel. Say this is minimized. It doesn't show up anymore. So it has to be maximized or whatever. On a Mac, that's not the case. I guess this is how it works. When a Mac application is running, even if you have the window closed, it still thinks it's running, because it is. So you just make sure you do that. Now it shows back up. If I click on this and I hit share, now you can see the Acrobat's open, the actual program. This yellow boxes around it, and that's telling me that's what's being shared. So right now Kathy only sees, this window. That's Acrobat. And I can do everything I can do in here just like if I was running it, because I am. I'm running it on my desktop. They can just see it. Okay. And while we have this open, what I'll talk about really quick is, since we've done most of these things, is the 5 things that you should tell your students at the beginning of the Collaborate session. And you can just open this up if you wanted to, or you could just share this, is that you want them to make sure they wear the headset and microphone. What happens is if they don't, let's say they have a laptop and they figure, well, I've got speakers on my laptop and it's got a microphone. If they turn their mic on, you're gonna get feedback like crazy because they're talking, but they're hearing themselves talk, and it's like a radio, like when that happens. So it's best if they do that. If not, tell them make sure they have their microphone off. They don't have the talk button clicked. They should run the audio wizard first thing. This happens sometimes. Number 3, did you drop out? If you're going to drop out of a session, did you accidentally drop out? It happens. Just come back in. Let's say you miss 5 minutes of the class, you can watch the recording of that. It's nothing to be panicked about. We are talking over hundreds of miles over phone lines. Things are going to happen. Try not to use Wi-Fi. The number 3 will happen more on Wi-Fi. Most of the time, maybe it won't, but sometimes if they got a spotty Wi-Fi and it dips, they could lose. And the funny thing is, some students now, and even adults, they don't remember that you can just plug your laptop or into the wall because they're always using Wi-Fi. And sometimes if they're at home, they can't really, because let's say they've got Time Warner or something, they haven't thought to put a router in their house with some cables in it that they can plug into. So tell them, they should try to find a connection like that. The next thing is pretty important, which we found out the hard way, which was to have everybody exit the session when it's over with. Illuminate if when a faculty member left, the session closed. Here we found out that if a student stays logged in, if a faculty member leaves, but Johnny walked away from his computer and he leaves his computer on and he minimized it, that session keeps recording and stays open forever. I guess. The longest one we've gotten so far, it's happened twice, and the longest one has been like 38 hours or something like that. So, and it was a student. They had to email the student and say, close your browser. She might have been able to, the faculty member might have been able to log back into that session probably and kick her off. And you can kick them off. If you wanted to, you could remove people by coming over and clicking on their little thing here and hit remove. So let's say you're about to leave and you say, all right, class is over with. You could go down and just kick each person off. Or you can just leave it open for 5 minutes while you're getting your book ready or whatnot. Oh, no, and everyone's gone? Okay, I can close. Oh, this person's there. You know, hey, Johnny, did you have another question? He might not even be there. Then you can just kick him off. If you're sitting in your office and you start getting emails and students are saying, where is this recording we did last night? And it's, you know, 5 o'clock the next day. These things should be there almost instantly. So if it's a day and it's not there, try logging back into your session to see if someone's still there and then kick them off. If not, contact me and then I can find out who's still there. You just, you literally just go to File, Exit. Yep, and I almost clicked it, so that would have been bad. So everybody's got one of these, and I also think I put it up in the help section. If not, I'll put it up today. So back to file sharing. If I wanted to stop file sharing, I click on this little stop button, and we leave. If I wanted to stop it, if I wanted to take a screenshot and bring it back to my, I could click on the little camera. It would take a screenshot of what's right here and bring it back to the whiteboard. I mean, and you could bring up Excel and run through an Excel spreadsheet and show them how to do that right in real time in Excel. There's a little bit of a lag because, again, we're sharing an application over the internet. So I can hit this, and we jump back to this. This can be a little confusing. It leaves you here with this thing sort of like spinning. And I'm still, because I've still got this selected. So if you want to go back to the whiteboard, you've got to click the whiteboard. The next thing you can do is go to Web Tour. I don't use this a lot, but I know you guys do. I know Kathy, a lot of people in nursing have been telling me that they use this. I usually just go to file sharing and share something, but there's a difference. Let's say I wanted to show them SUNY IT's website. I could go to Google, sunyit.edu, share application, they could see what I'm doing. If I do this, and type sunyit.edu and hit return, now Kathy, let me get a green check mark. Can you see the SUNY IT webpage? Yes. Now I can go over here and say, all right, we want to go to online learners, contact us. This I can be telling. Oh, that's not what I want. I can be. Oh my God. Yes, I want to exit. I can be telling my students, this is what I want you guys to do. Go this way and that way. And now go ahead. I want you to explore. So now, Kathy, you can go ahead. Go ahead. You click on future students and click on something. And then give me an OK in the chat box after you've done that. It's happening on their individual computers. They're doing that. So you can give them a tour and then let them loose on it, and they can be doing things on their own. Right. Yeah. But then they could go, still waiting for Web Tour to stop.
Yeah, I still have the circle waiting for Web Tour when I did that. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Okay. Just stop.
I've been having a few. Okay. So then they can do stuff. You know, I know some faculty might use it to say, all right, here's this wiki, explore this wiki, find 3 interesting things, and you know, we're going to talk about those at the end of class, maybe. Again, these are things that you may never use. Mm-hmm. We'll record every day. Yeah. Yes. 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 It saves it over the life of the course. Yep. Let's see. And I'll show you where to find that before we leave. The next thing that I'll show you guys is how to use, I've totally blanked on the word I'm looking for, breakout sessions. Breakout sessions. Some faculty use these, they love them. Other faculty, they don't. They say, I got enough going on, I don't need this. Exactly. So but I'd like to at least let you guys know that something like this exists. So if you're thinking, geez, can I do this? Say, oh, I remember in that awesome Collaborate class I took that he said we could do this. A breakout session is a way, let's say you've got 30 kids in a class, and you want to have them working on each group of 10, 3 groups of 10 working on something different, or maybe similar, but then see what they come up with and come back together. You can break them up into these sessions, into these different breakout sessions, or breakout rooms, I'm sorry. And that's under the main participant tab, under Create Breakout Rooms. And now, Kathy, I can't remember. Can you see the Create Breakout Rooms tab that just popped up? Probably not.
No, I don't see it.
Okay, yeah, because this is a user thing. So Kathy, what's happened is I've gone over to the participants window, and in that drop down, I've chosen Create Breakout Rooms. And what I'm seeing now, oh, actually, you know what? I bet I can do. Oh no, I can't. I was going to say I'm not going to take a screenshot and show you. But what I'm seeing is a Create Breakout Rooms dialog box. And it's asking me the name of the rooms. I'm just going to leave it room. Number of rooms, I'm going to say 3. You can make, I think, 10, maybe more. Then, how do I want to break these people up? Do I want to not move them? Don't move the participants? Do I want to distribute them evenly, but randomly, like I don't know what it's going to be? Do I want to divide it into groups of, say, 3? And as you noted, it turned off cleared my number of rooms, which I had 4. So let's say this might be even easier. I want to make groups of 10. So if I had 30, it's going to put 10 in each room. I could then hit Create. And here's room 1. And unfortunately, it isn't going to make more than room 1 because I only have 1 person. So what would happen is there'd be room 2 through whatever. And then Kathy is here in room 1. And in room 1, there's a whiteboard that they could be working on. See in the drop down, past all my slides, now there's room 1. And then there's her whiteboard. Now, people in room 2, if there was a room 2 right now, they would not see that, because this is the whiteboard for room 1. And I think Cass said something. No? Okay. And you could tell them to do all these things, and then I'm going to bring you back in 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. whatever you give them. If you give them chat, they're chatting, just their group. Yep. If you want to give them camera permissions, you could even give them file sharing or application sharing. Usually, though, what it is, it's chat or voice or something like that. Oh, okay. The question was, how do you, like, let's say you've got some people, 5 or 6 people in the classroom, and you've got some people in a chat area. It's a good question. How do we mix that up? What I would suggest, just for ease of use, the people in the classroom are room 11. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they're not blending in with the other. Yeah. Well, something they could do, so the question is, how do we mix up, let's say we've got 5 people in the classroom, we want to mix them more into the online group. A couple different things. If they had a laptop, they could be logging in to the Collaborate session, and they just get put in the room. Or if they had their iPad or iPhone or Android device, they could actually use that as well. I don't have my iPad with me. I forgot it today. I can see it on the kitchen table, charging. But we'll talk a little bit about mobile devices right at the end. But that would be what I'd say. You could say, hey, if you want to join, or you can just say if you've got a mobile device or a laptop, bring it to class because we're going to do something. I want to mix you in with the online people. But that would work. Now that we've got, let's say we're all done, we want to bring, oh, here's something we can do too really quick. If you go to the little information tab up here, I know there's a lot of stuff. Well, I've shown this particular, how to use this program a dozen times, and I've used it 24 times. So, but the help docs I made are pretty thorough. Let's say you went to the breakout groups. All right, I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes. You can start timer. I'll just set it to 5 minutes. Play message or display message, place time. Show to all. You can make it. You can personalize the. And then up here, it counts down. So everyone can see that they've got 5 minutes to work on this. And then you can click turn off if you don't want it on. So let's say they're done. How do we bring them back? We come up here and we return them to the main room. You could also say copy their whiteboard to the main room. So let's say they've had to draw some stuff up. We can copy that back. Okay. Let's say you want to enter their room and just talk to them. You do this. And
can you hear me? I cannot hear you.
can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Oh my God! I wonder how much that went blank. At some point, my when I was switching around rooms, I bet my microphone got switched off or something. That's okay. So hopefully, we haven't lost too much of this recording. Here's a little key thing, not a little key thing, but a little helpful tip. My microphone has a mute button, so I didn't bring any water up, so I'm coughing a lot. But Kathy hasn't heard me cough because I hit mute, I cough, and I turn it back on. And I'll always, after I turn it back on, I look over to see that the audio indicator is moving. Because when I turn it off, turn it back on, it's moving. A lot of the things I've been doing here in these panels, you can also do up here. Tools has almost everything in it. And again, Kathy, I don't think you can see me dropping down like a menu item, but I'm in the Tools drop down. So you can drop down that Tools menu if you want. You won't have nearly as many controls as I have. But all the things like application sharing, that button, it's right there. All the audio things, right there. Creating breakout rooms, everything that has a little button over here, the timer. So let's say you can't remember, oh, this little I button is the timer. Who would know that? You know, make it a clock or something. You can come over here and just read. You know, oh, I want to send them the telephony information. Where is that? Oh, wait, it's right there, telephony. There it is. So if you get lost in something, use that Tools menu, because you don't have to remember the icons. You're reading it. You know, oh, I want to fix my profile. You know, oh, I want to do something. There it is. I want to invite someone to the session. Oh, there it is. Invite someone to the session. Let's see. Whoops. Now, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to show you guys. We did breakout sessions. We did some tips on sort of how to engage your students. Key things in audio, making sure you do your audio wizard, making sure you hit talk. See the microphone. There's a microphone there by my name. That's something else that's good every once in a while. Hey, can everybody hear me? Is everything good? Let me get a check mark. How's that sound? I don't know how much of the recording my audio is not in because somehow I must have did something that my microphone turned off. The good news is I haven't shut up for an hour and a half. So Kathy knew when she heard silence for more than 10 seconds, something was wrong. So she was able to go ahead and she told me something's going on. But that's why I always maybe keep an eye over here every once in a while. Someone might say, hey, I don't hear you anymore. Or, hey, your PowerPoint's gone. And then you can say, all right, is my PowerPoint gone for everybody? Let me see a check mark. I need everyone to put a check mark if you can see it. And then you can say, no. You know, Johnny, you can't see it? Type in yes or no if you can see it. They'll say, yeah, I can see it. And you say, well, I told you to put a check mark. And then you can say, you can narrow it down. Maybe that other person's just having a problem. You could tell them, exit the session and come back in. And if someone's having a really bad problem, just like I did with Kathy in the beginning, my microphone's not working. I can't. Something's weird in Collaborate. I'm not seeing the slide, and my mic's not working. Exit Collaborate. Go to Angel. Log back in. Do your audio wizard. You're not going to miss more than 5 minutes, and you can watch that. The key thing, I think, with nursing, anybody that's using Collaborate, IDT, any sort of major, any sort of teacher, is to really think about those 5 things. Go over with the students, let them know that if something isn't working, it's going to work probably. If maybe they can't talk, they can type. If they can't hear you, that's a bit of a problem. That's your main thing. They need to hear you. But if that's not happening with you, don't panic. You can even do that. Close out, Collaborate, go back to Angel, start it again. I would unplug the microphone first and plug it in before I got out of Collaborate. And this is also what we're trying to do with your department getting all the same microphones. Me going around to all the machines over there and now all the machines in your offices to make sure you've got the most up-to-date Java, your drivers are okay, and everything should work at that point. And play a little bit with these things. Go into Angel, set up a test thing for an hour, and fool around. And maybe send invite, go through the invite somebody, a friend or whatever. Or if you have an iPad or you have a laptop, invite yourself, and then you log in and you can just be on there and be fooling around. And know that if you have a little bit of hiccup, just tell your students, just relax. Everything's going to be fine. Yeah. 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 She's just saying, the practice helps in knowing where you look, and it really does. And it's knowing your equipment too. I mean, I know like sometimes these things are silly, like, oh, I don't look at instructions and stuff, but like Kathy just had that problem with the microphone. My microphone right here, there's a plus and minus for audio on the little hand thing here, and then there's a little switch that it isn't really clear which one is mute and which one isn't. I mean, I guess looking at it, I go, okay, that now I could see I'm talking, but if you were in a hurry, you might not know. So, get to know your equipment. That's the other key thing. And I thought it might take a little bit longer, but it looks like it's not going to take a whole another hour. But I want to show you how to locate your recordings. Or unless there's some more questions while we're in Collaborate. No? Kathy, anything?
I'm all set.
No? You all set? Okay, I'm going to go through how to find the session back in Angel, the recorded session right now. So we're going to be in here. I'm actually going to minimize this so I can get to that. Okay. So now I'm going to do a sharing. I'm going to Google Chrome, go to my class. And the problem is going to be I got to find a course where I've got a recording. So let me go home here. And it's a little slow today. Clicking it repeatedly, oddly enough, is having no effect. I'm just going to go back to my FYS class. Communicate. Yeah, it's really not being very zippy. Oh yeah, wow, that's weird. Look at that, server error. That's strange. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Every once in a while, yeah. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to leave file sharing, and I'm going to go back into it and maybe see if it was just like a weird, maybe it was something to do with file sharing. I'm going to log out. Maybe it's just because it. Yeah, maybe that could have been it. But where you're going to find it is it's in the Collaborate, the Communicate, then Collaborate. You click on Recordings because there's the Live and the Recordings tab, and then you'll just search for the date range. So what I usually do is I'll set the start to the beginning of the month or something, and then hit go. It'll show you. Wow, I don't know, something might be wrong. Might be wrong in general here with Angel. I believe some of the faculty members in nursing have had Barb come up and do a library orientation. And I actually had published one of that published one of those recordings for, I can't remember what faculty or who the faculty member was, to access that in her class. So I could get that link and I could send it to everybody. I'll make sure that's what everybody needs first, and then I can send it to everybody. Yeah, the first one there was an error in the recording. Yeah, I'll make sure that's the right one, and that's the one you guys can need, and I'll send the link out to everybody. Well, for whatever reason, we're having a little bit of a problem with logging into Angel. I can't seem to get in. I'm actually going to try to log in outside of, to make sure it's not something to do with the file sharing. And it isn't. Strange. Angel could be down. It's not working. But what we do is, if you want to access that recording, again, you go to your class, communicate, collaborate.
So it has to be within a class that people have access to in their age.
Exactly. Good question. It has to be, yes, it has to be in the class, in the section for the students to access it. Yes. If you teach 2 different classes and you want that collaborate session to be viewed in each class, you need to contact me, and I can export it and do that. If it gets to the point where a lot of people need that done, I'll have a class like this and I'll show you guys how to do that. You use something called Collaborate Publish or something, and you publish it. You can call me. If I get everybody calling me on a daily basis, we'll have a class. But if it's every once in a while, obviously no problem. And then the student watches it, and it's the same sort of process. They click, it downloads that little file, you double click on it, open it. They need internet access to do that. But they see and hear everything. Everything's in the chat, everything's everywhere. Okay. There's actually one more thing I want to show you really quick. And that is, it's a funny thing if I can remember how to do it in this version, because I haven't done that yet. I have not done that in this. There it is. Wait, no, that's not it. Hang on one second. Sorry. Okay. Let's say you want to. This is kind of neat. People like to do this. I guess neat is maybe too strong of a word, but it's useful. Let's say you have a handout, or you want to. They say, hey, can I get that PowerPoint presentation? And you give your PowerPoint presentations. You can send them this over the web, right through here. So what you would do is you would go to Window, Show File Transfer, and I'm actually working on a help file on how to do this. And it brings up the file transfer window. And again, Kathy, you can't see this, but it's a file transfer window with a little plus asking me to add something. So I click this. I look for what I want. So let's say it says 5 things due. I hit open. It's loading it. Now it's sending it. Now, Kathy, you should have got something asking you, do you want to download 5 things to do? Is that correct? Let me get a check mark if that's correct. She may have stepped away. But you would get a check. You would get something saying to you, yes, I want to do this. You could download it and you get it, and it downloads it to you. Obviously, the bigger the file, the longer it takes you to upload and to download. The cool thing is, since it uploaded it to this, the person watching the recording, this will pop up at this point in the recording and ask me if I want to download this file, and I can. So it's not just for people who are viewing it live. So that's a pretty neat thing that you can do. So that's under Window File Transfer. And again, if you forget certain things, if you look at these tools in Window, it's all right there. It's all right there. even here, views. I'm on slideshow, or I'm on Whiteboard. Now I'm on application sharing. Now I'm on web tour. Then I'm on slideshow, which I don't want. Then I'm on, oh, where's this thing go? What's going on? Restore default, and it's back. Okay. When we're all done, we say, thanks a lot. You try not to hit your mic like that and make someone deaf. You say, thanks a lot. I'm glad welcome. You came to the class. I'm going to stop the recording if there's no questions. Please remember, exit the session. And Kathy, I'm going to stop the recording now.